Welcome back. A roundtable discussion has been hosted to discuss the issues of air pollution. According to the World Health Organization, 7 million people die prematurely every year as a direct or indirect result of air pollution. In addition, 93% of children live in areas where the air pollution levels are above the recommended standards of the WHO. The discussion aimed to pinpoint the major effects and to create efficient tactics to reduce it.
We are intricately linked by the air we breathe, and thus the pollution emitted has the potential to harm not only our health and environment, but also our sustainable development. Our vulnerability to climate change is also increased. As small island developing states, this presents a grave concern for islands of the Caribbean, who are already greatly vulnerable to issues relating to climate change. Additionally, approximately 13,600 people die prematurely every year as a result of pollution in the Caribbean, according to the UN Environment's Air Quality in the Caribbean report. The leading cause of these premature deaths and related health issues is often indoor air pollution. The recently celebrated World Environment Day issued a call for the coordinated efforts of governments, citizens, and the private sector to beat air pollution. It is in this respect that the UN Environment Caribbean Sub-Regional Office, in collaboration with the United Nations Information Center for the Caribbean, will host an online roundtable to highlight the following. 1. The problem, effects, and impacts on health, climate, and industries, as well as related concerns surrounding air pollution in the Caribbean. 2. The importance of cross-sectoral approaches to addressing the issue of air pollution in the Caribbean and what is currently being done. 3. A sectoral approach, successful approaches in sectors such as transportation. And 4. Practical steps governments, NGOs, and private sector entities can take in an effort to curb air pollution in the Caribbean. The theme for the discussion is Beat Air Pollution, a Caribbean Perspective. Though air pollution is a global issue, the roundtable aims to zoom into how air pollution affects the Caribbean directly, what are the major sources, and what small island developing states like the Caribbean are doing and can do better to reduce their vulnerability to issues relating to air pollution. For Hot 7 News, I am Lovey Spooner reporting.
A regional cooperation project coordinated by Argentina and the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture will allow for strengthening the beekeeping industry in Barbados, Dominica, St. Lucia, and St. Kitts and Nevis. More details in this report. Argentine specialists will facilitate the installation of Peruvian beehives, which are more productive than the Langstroth beehives that are traditionally used in those countries. ICA has supported Caribbean apiculture over the course of many years and will now coordinate the provision of advisory services by specialists from Argentina, the world's third largest exporter of natural honey. Due to its rich diversity of flora and fauna, the Caribbean region has great potential for apiculture. The project, entitled BRK3, will be developed through triangular cooperation between the Ministries of Agriculture and the 4 Caribbean countries, Argentina and ICA. The initial phase will be launched in July 2019 to be implemented over the course of 1 year. As part of the second phase, the project would be scaled up to include other Caribbean countries and would be implemented based on each country's specific needs and priorities with respect to the development of its beekeeping industry. Given its nature, beekeeping requires a special physical environment to thrive. Consequently, it serves as a barometer for nature, indicating the quality of air, water, soil, and sources of pollen and nectar within a given space. Additionally, honey production generates very little waste, making apiculture an ideal industry for adopting a bioeconomy approach. BRK3 will drive knowledge sharing and the development of production capabilities in order to guarantee the sustainability of the project's interventions. Given Caribbean countries' high level of vulnerability to climate change, as well as apiculture's great potential to generate socio-economic benefits in rural communities throughout the region, this project affords a valuable opportunity to guide these economies towards sustainability. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez. 2 young environmental activists from the OECS have recently participated in the 3rd edition of the Peace Boat's Ocean and Climate Youth Ambassador Program. St. Lucian, Giovanni Henry, and Monstration Ashneal Jeffers have seized this opportunity to draw the attention of the international community to the urgent necessity to accelerate climate resilience actions in the countries of the Eastern Caribbean, which remain among the most impacted nations in the world despite being minor contributors to climate change.
I am Giovanni Henry, a 22-year-old economic and finance student of the University of the West Indies Cable Campus in Barbados. One of my main passions is that of environmental conservation and preservation. Coming from a small island state and being on the front line of climate change, the environment is a critical aspect, and seeing how we are deeply affected by this, I think has fueled my desire to want to make a positive contribution and serve as a catalyst in me taking action in terms of protecting our environment, not only for us, but for future generations. So earlier this year, I was selected as part of 8 young climate activists throughout the Alliance of Small Island States to get on board the Peace Boat Ocean and Climate Youth Ambassadors Program. This program was partly sponsored by the Peace Boat, but also the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS Commission. So our Peace Boat Ocean and Climate Youth Ambassadors Program began on May 24th in the city of Valletta, Malta. We also had several activities both in port as well as on board the Peace Boat. Through this experience, we get to bring our story, we get to give them a deeper understanding of the situation they face, which maybe in the end will influence a change in behavior. We are not the major contributors of climate change, but we stand to be greatly affected. But it is those in the developed world that are the main contributors. This is why through this program we were able to meet with persons from Grenada, from Morocco, as well as Portugal, where we got to bring our story to them, all in efforts of influencing positive change. Globally, we are at a critical juncture in that climate change is on our doorsteps. As young people, I believe that it is our responsibility to lead these efforts, which is why I would encourage other young persons to get involved in such programs, as it granted the opportunity to not only enhance your capacity, but to also lobby, but to also influence others into taking positive action that will ensure the conservation and preservation of our planet. Indeed, I must say I'm indeed grateful to the OECS Commission for supporting this venture, as it has not only enhanced my capacity, but it has helped me forge different networks and connections that could be not only to benefit to me, but also benefit to our country and by extension our region.
It is now time for the sports news with Tennyson Glasgow.